In the annals of American history, few events have left an indelible mark quite like the Johnstown flood of 1889. A disaster of such magnitude, it forever changed the landscape of a thriving city and left a deep scar on the hearts of its people. Johnstown, nestled in the heart of Pennsylvania, was a bustling hub of industry in the late 19th century. The city was a testament to the power of the Industrial Revolution, boasting a thriving steel industry. But beneath this prosperity lurked a ticking time bomb, the South Fork Dam on the Little Conemaugh River. Constructed to serve the needs of the growing city, the dam was a marvel of engineering. However, beneath the facade of progress, concerns were brewing about the dam's maintenance. These concerns, unfortunately, were not heeded with the seriousness they deserved. The fateful day arrived on May 31, 1889, a day that started like any other, but would soon turn into a nightmare. Torrential rains, a failing dam, and the resulting flood unleashed a wave of destruction that the city could never have prepared for. The scale of the disaster was unimaginable, with a staggering loss of life and property. In the face of such devastation, stories of bravery and resilience emerged. Ordinary individuals and organizations rallied to rescue survivors and provide aid, demonstrating the indomitable spirit of humanity. The aftermath of the disaster was a scene of desolation, but even amidst the ruins, the seeds of hope were sown. Investigations were launched, blame was apportioned, and the long journey of rebuilding Johnstown began. The flood had a profound impact, not only on Pennsylvania, but also on the disaster relief and preparedness efforts across the United States. Today, the Johnstown flood is commemorated through memorials, museums, and annual events, a solemn reminder of the tragedy and a tribute to the resilience of its people. Personal stories from survivors and their descendants bring a poignant touch to the narrative, humanizing the tragedy and keeping the memory alive. The Johnstown flood has also left its imprint on art, literature, and other forms of cultural expression, further underscoring its significance in history. Join us as we delve into this monumental event and its long-standing impact. From lessons learned to contemporary relevance, the Johnstown flood of 1889 is a tale of tragedy, resilience, and recovery that continues to resonate even today. To fully understand the magnitude of the flood, we must first look at Johnstown in the late 19th century. Nestled in the heart of Pennsylvania, Johnstown was a city on the rise, fueled by the booming steel industry. Immigrants from all over the world flocked to this industrial hub, seeking employment in the city's bustling steel mills. The mill's fiery furnaces roared day and night, churning out tons of steel that would build the backbone of a rapidly modernizing America. The city's prosperity was mirrored in the growth of its population. Streets were lined with the homes of hardworking individuals who had found their piece of the American dream in this steel town. With every passing day, Johnstown grew larger, busier, and more prosperous. This thriving city, however, was sitting on a ticking time bomb, the South Fork Dam. The South Fork Dam, a marvel of its time, had a critical role in the impending disaster. This colossal structure, constructed in the early 1800s, was primarily designed to serve as a reservoir for the Pennsylvania Canal. Its impressive size and strategic location on the Little Conemaugh River were testament to the engineering prowess of the era. The dam, however, was not without its issues. From the onset, concerns were raised about its maintenance and structural integrity. Over the years, these concerns grew more pronounced. The dam's original design had included a spillway to allow excess water to escape safely, but this was blocked to prevent fish from escaping, creating a potential for disaster. Repeated warnings about the dam's safety were largely ignored. The responsibility of maintenance fell upon the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club, a group of affluent Pittsburgh industrialists. Yet despite their wealth, the dam's upkeep was neglected, and on that fateful day in May 1889, the worst fears came true. The skies opened up, and what followed was a catastrophe unparalleled in the annals of American history. It was the afternoon of May 31, 1889, when the ominous clouds began to pour their heavy load onto the town of Johnstown. The rain was relentless, a ceaseless torrent that saturated the ground and swelled the Little Conemaugh River to frightening levels. As the hours passed, the South Fork Dam, already weakened by years of neglect and inadequate maintenance, strained under the pressure of the engorged river. The dam's walls began to crumble, the first signs of an impending disaster, but the townsfolk, preoccupied with their daily lives and the deluge outside, remained oblivious to the danger lurking just upstream. Then, without warning, the dam gave way. A monstrous wall of water, some 40 feet high, charged towards Johnstown with a terrifying force. The rushing water swept away everything in its path: homes, factories, trees, animals, and tragically, people. Within minutes, the thriving town of Johnstown was reduced to a sea of debris and devastation. The scale of the disaster was staggering. Over 2,000 lives were lost that day, making it one of the deadliest floods in U.S. history. Thousands more were injured or displaced, their homes and livelihoods washed away in the blink of an eye. The flood caused millions of dollars in damage, a sum that would be in the billions today. Amid the wreckage and ruin, the magnitude of the disaster began to sink in. The once bustling town, known for its steel manufacturing and vibrant community, was now a scene of utter devastation. The flood had not just washed away buildings and bridges, it had swept away the very fabric of the community. But amidst the chaos and devastation, emerged stories of incredible courage and determination. The people of Johnstown, though battered and bruised, were not broken. In the face of adversity, they rallied together, displaying resilience and a spirit of camaraderie that would see them through the darkest of days. The day disaster struck was a day of immense loss, but it was also a day that bore witness to the indomitable spirit of humanity. In the face of overwhelming odds, ordinary individuals rose to extraordinary heights. Take, for instance, the tireless efforts of the rescue teams. They comprised of everyday people, teachers, blacksmiths, housewives, children, who braved the rushing waters, debris, and danger to save their fellow townsfolk. Their courage was astounding. They fought against the torrent, pulling survivors from the wreckage, providing first aid, and comforting the injured and the bereaved. Among these heroes was a group of teenage boys who formed a human chain to rescue those clinging to debris. Then there was Hetty Ogle, who ran a boarding house and managed to save 17 people by keeping them afloat on a mattress. These tales of heroism and resilience remind us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine brightly. The immediate aftermath of the disaster, however, was a scene of utter devastation. As the water receded, the scale of the devastation became painfully clear. Johnstown, once a bustling city of industry, was reduced to ruins. The flood had claimed over 2,000 lives and wiped out entire neighborhoods, leaving behind a stark landscape of rubble and debris. The immediate aftermath was a scene of chaos and confusion. Survivors, many of them injured and in shock, were left to grapple with the loss of their homes, their loved ones, and the life they once knew. The floodwaters had not only ravaged the physical landscape of Johnstown, but also the very fabric of the community. Yet amidst the devastation, the resilient spirit of humanity emerged. Aid began pouring in from across the country. Relief efforts, spearheaded by Clara Barton and the newly formed American Red Cross, swung into action. They set up hospitals, distributed food and clothing, and provided shelter for those who had lost everything. Never before had the United States seen a disaster relief operation of this magnitude. The impact on the survivors was profound. Many were left homeless, their livelihoods destroyed. The psychological trauma was immense, with survivors grappling with grief, loss, and the haunting memories of that fateful day. Yet, despite these hardships, many found the strength to face the daunting task of rebuilding their lives. The city of Johnstown, too, faced an uphill battle. The flood had decimated the city's infrastructure, and the recovery process was slow and challenging. But with unwavering determination, the people of Johnstown began the arduous process of cleaning up, repairing, and reconstructing their city. The aftermath of the Johnstown flood was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It showcased the power of community, the importance of solidarity, and the indomitable will of people to rise above adversity. In the face of such a disaster, the question of accountability was inevitable. As the city picked up the pieces, the nation began to question how such a catastrophe could have happened, and who, if anyone, was to blame. Who was to blame for such a catastrophe? The answer was far from straightforward. The investigations that followed the flood were filled with finger-pointing and heated debates. Some squarely placed the blame on the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club, the wealthy members of which owned the dam. They argued that the club had not maintained the dam properly, leading to its catastrophic failure. But the club members, many of them leading industrialists of the age, refuted these claims, insisting that the flood was an act of God, a natural disaster that could not have been prevented. The legal proceedings that ensued were fraught with tension and controversy. Despite the widespread belief in the club's culpability, the court exonerated them of all blame. The verdict left many in shock and disappointment. Yet, amidst the controversy and blame, Johnstown began its journey towards recovery. The road to recovery was long and arduous, but the spirit of Johnstown was indomitable. In the wake of the flood, the townspeople of Johnstown faced a monumental task. Their city was in ruins, their livelihoods decimated, and their spirits battered. Yet they refused to be defined by the disaster. Instead, they chose to rise from the ashes, their resilience echoing through the valleys of Pennsylvania. The recovery process began with a collective effort to clear the debris and rebuild homes. Architects and engineers from across the country flocked to Johnstown, bringing with them innovative ideas and a renewed sense of hope. The city was gradually reshaped, its skyline once again punctuated with the chimneys of thriving steel mills. Yet the townsfolk understood that rebuilding was not merely about bricks and mortar. They needed to ensure that a similar catastrophe would never befall them again. So they set about implementing changes in the city's infrastructure and flood control measures. One of the most significant steps was the construction of a new dam, designed to withstand even the most torrential downpours. This dam was more than just a symbol of the city's resilience. It was a beacon of hope, a testament to the people's determination to protect their city from future disasters. In addition to the dam, the city also introduced stringent regulations for the maintenance of all public infrastructure. These measures, though stringent, were a necessary safeguard against potential disasters. The city also invested heavily in education, encouraging its citizens to understand the risks associated with living in a flood-prone area. This knowledge empowered them, giving them the tools they needed to protect their homes and their city. The transformation of Johnstown was not an overnight process. It took years of hard work, perseverance, and unwavering determination. But the townspeople did not falter. They stood tall, their spirits unbowed, their resolve unbroken. The Johnstown flood has left a lasting impact, far beyond the borders of Pennsylvania. The resilience of the people of Johnstown serves as a powerful reminder of our ability to overcome adversity. It shows us that even in the face of the greatest disasters, we have the power to rise, rebuild, and emerge stronger than before. The Johnstown flood is more than just a historical event. It's a testament to human resilience and a reminder of our responsibility towards the environment. This catastrophic event left an indelible mark not only on the city of Johnstown, but also on the entire nation. The flood's aftermath was a turning point in the way America dealt with disasters, shaping early relief and preparedness efforts that have evolved into the systems we have today. The flood spurred the creation of the American Red Cross's Disaster Relief Program, setting a precedent for organized nationwide humanitarian aid. Clara Barton, the organization's founder, led the response, marking the first significant disaster relief operation in American history. This laid the groundwork for future disaster response initiatives and highlighted the importance of preparedness and immediate action in the face of calamity. In the wake of the flood, Johnstown's recovery also influenced urban planning and infrastructure development. The city's rebuilding efforts led to improved flood control measures and stricter regulations on dam construction and maintenance. These changes were a direct response to the disaster, aiming to prevent similar tragedies from happening in the future. Fast forward to the present day, the Johnstown flood remains relevant. As we grapple with the realities of climate change and the increasing frequency of extreme weather events, the lessons from Johnstown are more critical than ever. It's a stark reminder of the devastating impact of environmental neglect and the importance of infrastructure safety. Johnstown's story is also a tale of resilience and recovery. Despite the unimaginable loss the city rebuilt, its people persevered. This spirit of resilience remains a beacon of hope in our times of struggle. The legacy of the Johnstown flood lives on in the hearts of its descendants, in the memorials that mark the city, and in the lessons ingrained in our disaster response systems. As we remember the Johnstown flood, we honor the memory of those lost and the lessons learned. The Johnstown flood of 1889 is a chapter in history that reminds us of the power of nature and the resilience of humanity. This catastrophic event, emanating from the failure of the South Fork Dam, resulted in the loss of over 2,000 lives and the destruction of a thriving industrial town. Yet amidst the chaos, stories of heroism and resilience emerged, painting a picture of human spirit undeterred by adversity. In the aftermath, the town of Johnstown rose from the ashes, rebuilding itself with a focus on safer infrastructure and flood control measures. The flood's historical significance resonates even today, influencing early disaster relief and preparedness efforts. Through various memorials, literature, and personal stories, the legacy of the Johnstown flood lives on, reminding us of the lessons we've learned and the strides we've made in disaster management. As we sign off, we urge you to delve deeper into this event and reflect on the lessons it offers for our present and future.